students and other viewers. This is Teta from Morogoro. I am Sir James KIJUMBA, teaching basic mathematics Form 4. We are going to start with the topic so-called coordinate geometry. This topic is extracted from Form 4 syllabus, but it is not brand new to you because you learned it while you were in Form 1. Now, by the end of this topic, the student is expected to be able to find the gradient of a straight line, find the equation of the straight line, find the midpoint of the line segment, find the distance between two points on your plane, and lastly, learn on parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, today's coverage, by the end of this period, the student is expected to be able to find the gradient of a straight line and find the equation of the straight line. But before we start our lesson, let us make a simple revision on some concepts of coordinate geometry covered in Form 1. Now, some of the concepts that we are going to revise include the definition of coordinate geometry, a coordinate of a point, and the positioning of a point. Perhaps you do remember what is coordinate geometry. Now, coordinate geometry, as you remember, is defined as the branch of geometry where a position of a point is defined by ordered pair known as coordinates. But the coordinate plane is made up of two axes. We have horizontal axis and a vertical axis. That is XY plane made by, that is x-axis, and we have y-axis. Now, coordinate geometry is all about x-axis and y-axis. Now, concept of coordinate of a point. The coordinate of a point is the value of y and the x enclosed in the bracket, used to describe the position of a point on a line in a plane. Now, a point in coordinate geometry is written as ordered pair, starting with the x value, ending with the y value. For example, we are given x value as 4 and the y value as 5. Now then the point is written as 4, 5. But that point 4, 5 can be located on XY plane by starting with the value of x, ending with the value of y. Ending with the value of y. Now we can see how we can locate such a point 4,5 on xy plane. First, we draw. We have our point 4,5. Now first we draw x-axis. Then you draw y-axis. Then try to draw a line through the value of x, which is 4, parallel to y-axis. Y-axis. Then draw another line through 5 parallel to x-axis. Now the intersection point where the two lines meet is where we find our point 4,5. Look, the point has been written by starting the value of x, which is 4, ending with the value of y, which is 5. Now let us start our today's lesson, hoping that now we are together, because we have revised some of the concepts. Perhaps for those who had forgotten, now we are together. Now, as I told you that today's coverage, we are going to look on the gradient of a straight line and the equation of the straight line. Now, let us start with the gradient of the straight line. Now, what is a gradient? Because this is not a new term to you. Try to discuss with your fellow friend or your fellow student to look whether you remember the definition or concept of gradient. But if you do remember, now gradient is the measure of steepness of the slope. Steepness of the slope. How the slope of the line is steep or gentle. That is the definition of a gradient. Measure of steepness of a line. Measure of steepness of the line. But in mathematics, especially in coordinate geometry, gradient is defined as change in y to the change in x. We can write by using mathematical notation as gradient equals to change in y over change in x. Now consider 2 points, x1, y1, and another point b, x2, 2. Now the slope between the 2 points is given by, as you can see, change in y, that it will be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, or y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. Look at example 1. You are asked to find the gradient of the line joining the following points 5, 2 and 2, -2. That are the 2 points on a straight line whose gradient is unknown. Now we are asked to find the gradient of that line. Now, as you do remember, gradient equals to change in y over change in x. Now, we can let the first point in this one, 5,2, as point 1, and we can let this point 2, -2 as point 2. Now, if we take that into consideration, now we can label this 5 as x1, positive 2 as y1, positive 2 as x2, and negative 2 as y2. Now, let us look the solution of that example. As you can see, this would be placed in here as y2. This x2 would be placed here as x2. This is x1. This is y1. Now, recall, gradient as usual is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, as I told you. But we are given our points. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. Now try to substitute that values into our formula. You find that gradient will be equal to, now it will be negative 2 y2 minus 2, which is y1, divided by positive 2 as x2 minus 5 as x1. Now find negative 2 minus 2 over 2 minus 5. Now, negative 2 minus 2, that is the same as negative 2 plus negative 2. Negative 2 minus 2 equals to negative 2 plus negative 2, of which we get negative 4 divided by 2 minus 5, we get negative 3. Now we find that gradient equals to negative 4 divided by negative 3. But negative divided by negative, we get positive. As you can see, we have negative here divided by negative, we get positive 4 over 3. Now mind you that any number written without operational sign, it is positive. But if the number is negative, the sign must be written. Now, the gradient that we are asked to find is 4 over 3. That is our gradient. Now, before we go to the next example, now try to check whether the solution match with your prior expectation. What we have obtained is your prior expectation, is what you thought before that could be. Perhaps you have already made such consideration. Now let us go to example number 2. Example number 2. find the value of R if the line joining are the points -5, -3 and 6, R has the slope of a half. I repeat. Find the value of R if the line joining the points -5, -3 and 6, R has a slope of a half or 1/2. Now let me give you 20 seconds to digest the question before we come to work together. Now try to discuss with your fellow students to see how you can move on. Now try. Now the time I gave you has ended. Now let us share your solution, your idea. Now look, we have our points -5, -3 and 6, R. These are the 2 points on the straight line. And then we have gradient, which is a half, 1/2. Now, you can see the 2 points given, -5, -3, -3 and 6, R. And the gradient we are given is a half. Recall, as you learned in Form 1, and back to the revision that we have made, gradient equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now, because we have 2 points here, -5 and -3 and 6, R, we can let the first point here label as point 1 and the second point here 6, R as point 2. Now if we take that into consideration, now we have this is -5, we can label it as x1, -3 as y1, also 6 as x2 and the R as y2. Our gradient is 1/2. Now we can substitute the values into our formula. Now gradient we are given a half. Now instead of gradient we just write here 1/2 equals to y2. We just take the value of y2, which is R, minus x2 minus y2, y1, sorry, minus y1, which is -3, divided by x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is -5. Now we find that R minus -3 we get positive, because if you take R as y2 minus y1, which is -3, you find that negative and the negative gives us the positive. Negative times negative we get a positive. That's why we have R plus 3 divide by 6 minus -5. 6 minus -5. We have negative and a negative. Negative times negative we get positive. Now that is why we have got 6 plus 5. But slope equals to a half. Now here, you just put a half on the gradient. You just put 1/2 equals to, now, r plus 3 divided by 11, since 6 plus 5 equals to 11. Now, cross multiplication, upon cross multiplication, you find that 1 is multiplied to 11 equals to 2 is multiplied to r plus 3. Now we find 11 equals to 2 times r plus 3. Now because 2 is out of the bracket, outside the bracket, we have to multiply by each component, each value found inside the bracket. If that being the case, now with 11 equals to 2 times r, we get 2r. Then positive 2 times positive 3, we get positive 6. That's 11 equals 2r plus 6. Now, we can take this positive 6 to the left hand side while we are putting the like terms together. Now, once this positive 6 crosses equal sign as you move backward, or as you move at the left hand side, if this positive 6 crosses equal sign, its sign change to be negative. As you can see now, the resulting expression or the resulting equation will be 2r equals to 5. Since 11 minus 6, we get 5. Now how can we find r? Divide by 2 both sides. Divide by 2, we get r equals to 5/2. Now, that is the value of r that should be placed here so that the gradient of the line joining the 2 points, -5, -3 and 6, r is a half. Now, the expected value of r is 5/2. Now, perhaps you have enjoyed the lesson, but I have prepared some questions that you will pass through so that you can check yourself whether you have understood or not. Now, we have 2 questions that you have to do. Can be obtained given the following things or the following aspects. Equation of a straight line can be found if you are given 2 points on a straight line. Also, gradient of also equation of a straight line can be found if you are given a gradient and 1 point on a straight line. Now, as usual, gradient equals to y minus y1 over y minus over x minus x1, where y and x are variable points. or is any point on a line. And the x1, y1 is the given point on the line. Now let us start with the equation of a straight line given 2 points on a line. Now let us look at example 1. Find the equation of the line passing through 3, 4 and 4, 5. Now we are given 2 points on a straight line, 3, 4 and 4, 5. Now let us back to the formula for finding gradient. But before we work together, let me give you 20 seconds to discuss. Then we shall work together and you shall evaluate yourself whether you do remember the concepts you covered in Form 1. Okay, perhaps you have already discussed it, and perhaps you have got an answer to that question or to that example. Now look, we have the points 3, 4 and 4, 5. Now first, here we have to find the gradient of the straight line. Find the gradient of the straight line first, given the 2 points, and then choose one of the 2 points. You can choose this point 3, 4, or you can choose 4, 5. To find the equation of the straight line. Now let us check. Let us look. We have points as usual 3, 4 and 4, 5. Now, as usual, the first value is the value of x, the second the value of y. Also, to the point number 2 or point 2, the first value, which is the 4, is the value of x. The second value, which is 5, is the value of y. Now, if we take that this is point 1, this is point 2, we can label as this is x1, this is y1, and the 4 as the x2, 5 as the y2. Now, come to the formula for finding gradient. Gradient, as usual, is given by y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, as you can see. But our y2 is 5, our y1 is 4. Now, you take 5 minus 4 divided by x2, which is 4 minus 3. Then you get 5 minus 4, as I told you, divided by 4 minus 3. 5 minus 4 we get 1, divided by 4 minus 3 we get 1. Now 1 divided by 1 equals to 1. But a gradient, back to the formula for finding equation of the straight line. We just equate a gradient that we have obtained and the gradient of the same line using variable point x, comma, y. But let us choose one of the 2 points. Let us choose 3, 4 as our reference point to find the equation of the straight line. Now, if that being the case, now this 3 will be x1 and the 4 will be y1. Now gradient as usual is equal to y minus y1 divided by x minus x1, where y, this y, unlabeled y and unlabeled x are the values of the variable point. Now, but gradient, mind you, gradient we have 1. Now 1 equals to our variable point y minus our y1, which is 4, divided by x, our variable point, minus 3, which is x1. Now, upon crossing multiplication gives 1 times x minus 3, we get x minus 3 equals to y minus 4. X minus 3 equals to y minus 4. Now, try to put the like terms together. You find that if you take post negative 4 to the left hand side of equal sign, the sign negative change to be positive. That's we get x minus 3 plus 4 equals to y. Now we have negative 3 here plus 4. Negative 3 plus 4 equals to how much? Equals to how much? Suppose a man borrows you some amount of money, or borrows you 4 units. Now you have a debt of 4 units. Sorry, suppose a man borrows you 3 units. Now you have a debt of 3 units. But in your pocket, you have 4 units. But you have to pay back. You have to clear the debt. What do? You just take the 3 units that someone renders you. Then you remain with 1 unit in your pocket, but you have cleared the debt. Then because you remain with 1 unit in the pocket, that is yours, it's your only property, and you have cleared the debt, then the unit that you remain with as your only property we term as positive. Now, negative 3 plus 4 equals to positive 1. Now, the resulting expression will be equal to x now plus 1, because if you resolve negative 3 plus 4, you get positive 1. Now you get x plus 1 equals to y. But the equation in terms of y is equal to mx plus c is written by starting with the value of y. Thus, can write the equation of our line equals to x plus 1. That is the solution to our example number 1. That's the solution to example number 1. Now try to look whether the solution matches exactly with what you thought before we move on. Before we get into excursion. Now, let us come to example number 2. Example number 2. Now, example number 2, we are given 1 point and the gradient. 1 point of the gradient. Now, the question, let us find the equation of the straight line given in the gradient -2/3 and the point 2,4. Find the equation of the straight line given in gradient of that line as -2/3 and pass through point 2,4. You see? Now, try to digest the equation. Try to digest the equation. I give you few seconds. You are given a point, you are given the gradient. Now try to share with your fellow students. Now perhaps your idea is not far from the solution that I have prepared for you. Now we are given a point and the gradient. As usual, we come to the first to analyze the data given. As you can see, we are having gradient -2/3. We have our point 2,4 in the equation, but the equation is what we are asked to find. Now, let us call this as x1, this is y1, because the point 2,4 is a given point. And we are given the gradient -2/3. Now, back to the formula for finding gradient. Now, gradient, as usual, equals to, you can use a variable point or you can use 2 points given. But here, because you are given 1 point, we can use a variable point. Now, the gradient obtained by using 2 points given or by using the variable point and one of the points given are the same, because a straight line must have one gradient, equal gradient. We cannot have more than one gradient on the same straight line. Now, if that being the case, you find a gradient equals to y minus y1 divided by x minus x1, where y and the x unlabeled y and the unlabeled x are the variable values of x of the line, the variable values of any point on the line. But gradient we are given. The gradient, this one, obtained by variable point and one of the given point, is equal to the gradient given. Now, instead of writing gradient, you just substitute -2/3 as -2 as -2/3 equals to y minus 4, our y minus y1, which is 4, divided by x minus x1, which is 2. Now, upon crossing multiplication, you come to -2 times x minus 2 equals to 3 times y minus 4. As you can see, -2 times x minus 2 equals to 3 bracket y times y minus 4. Now, try to open the brackets. Mind you that the number or the factor that is found outside the bracket has to be multiplied by each member or each value found inside the bracket. Now, if that being the case, negative 2 now will be multiplied to x, giving negative 2x. Also we have here negative 2 times negative 2. Mind you that negative times negative we get positive. Now negative 2 times negative 2 we get positive 4. Also, come to the right hand side, 3 times y we get 3y. Also 3 times negative 4, this is positive 3 times negative 4. Positive times negative, we get negative. Now, 3 times negative 4, we get negative 12, as you take a negative times positive, we get negative. We get negative. Now, our expression now can be written by starting with 3y minus 12 equals to negative 2x plus 4. 3y minus 12 equals to negative 2x plus 4. Because that does not change the meaning of that statement. Now, try to take all the values or all the values found at the right hand side of equal sign, try to get them at the left hand side of equal sign. Now if you take negative 2x to the left hand side, once negative crosses equal sign, its sign changes to be positive. Now it will be positive 2x. As you can see, 3y plus, it will be 3y plus 2x. Then taking positive 4 to the left hand side, the sign positive change to be negative. Now you find that you have negative 12 minus 4. Now what is remained at the right hand side is 0, because all the values have been moved to the left hand side of equal sign. Now we remain with 0. Now we come to 3y plus 2x minus 16 equals to what? Equals to 0. Now our question now is 2x plus 3y minus 16 equals to 0. Now mind you that equation can be written in two forms. One, the equation can be written in form of ax plus by plus c equals to 0, as this one. This is in the form of ax plus by plus c equals to 0, where a equals to b equal to 3 and c equals to negative 16. Now, the former example, the first example to the equation of a straight line, we got y is equal to x plus 1. Now that is in the form of y equals to mx plus c. Now the equation of a straight line can be expressed in two forms: y is equal to mx plus c, or ax plus by plus c equals to 0. Now, perhaps you have enjoyed the lesson. Now this is the end of our discussion. But before I leave, I've prepared some questions that you would have to do to check whether you have understood or you still need more help, more assistance for better understanding. Now, the questions that I have prepared for you are just a few, but I request you to to pass through more books, especially the book written by Tanzania Institute of Education, book 4, it has got different questions and good questions that will make you understand more and more and more. Now, the few questions that I have prepared for you are as follows. The first question: the slope of the line joining the points A, m,8 and B, 5, -2 is -10. Find the value of m. The first question: the slope of the line joining the points A, m,8 and B, 5, -2 is -10. Find the value of m. Second question: find the equation of the line passing through point P2, 3 and point Q, -3, 0. But there are few examples. I try to do many questions as you can. Now, thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching me. We shall meet in the next period. But the next period, we expect to discuss on the midpoint of the line segment, if possible, and the distance between 2 points on the straight line. Thank you.